ဒီတောက်ရောက်တဲ့အကုန်လုံးဝင်မွေးရဗျာအကုန်လုံးဒီနားအဆုံးတော့ဒီနားလေးတင်ပါဗျာ
ဒီရောဝင်မိပြီလား
အေးမေးပါပြီ
ကားမေး
ဒီနားခုနကားသမားကဒီမှာကားတင်နေရှိတယ်ကိုယ်တည်းဘယ်သူတုံးလဲအားလုံးအင်းကောင်တွေလည်းမိုက်တာလေဘယ်သူမှထွက်မလို့အတိုင်းတိုင်းဟိုနဲ့ပြက်ပြန်သွား
အားမနဲ့
ဝင်းမင်းသွားပြီမေးဟိုက
The NACT champions looking to pave the way for North America. It's the Ohio brothers making their first international performance, this time with a different name.
Oh, that's the question that I was wondering. I've seen their names, I've seen their faces. They're all quite familiar, but finally, they're all going to be placed in the same teams. The representative coming in from the Ohio brothers from North America. You can say that they are kind of the underdogs in this matchup going against the tournament favorites, BREN.
For sure. They're up against the champions of Philippines. We all know that the Philippines has been the #1, maybe, region in the world for the longest time for MLBB esports. And for a team like TOB to face off against BREN in their first match, to be placed in the same group, is definitely going to be a lot of pressure that they'll have to deal with. But with that being said, this is a team now with a lot of experience under their belt already. Last time when we saw them at MSC, maybe we could say experience was still something that they needed to gain. But now, I feel like they're ready, especially considering the fact that they have been boot camping in Indonesia for the last 2 weeks before the event even started. I know that because they were literally in the same apartment as me.
In the same room?
Not the same room, just the same apartment. Yeah.
Oh, the same. You mean building?
Same building.
Okay, so they have been here for quite some time, and I honestly do agree with you. I'm wondering what changes are we going to be expecting today? And oh, it's Coach Assassin Dave.
Hey, that's not Assassin Dave.
It's not?
It's just Dave now. He goes by Dave. That's a different guy. That's not the guy we know. That was his twin. Assassin Dave. This is just Dave.
I didn't know that he was a twin.
Me neither, man. But, yesterday I had, a few discussions. I spoke to their manager. And yeah, that's just Dave, bro.
What's just Dave? But here we go, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome you into the first opening match of the day of MPL Invitational 2023. We are going to start off in the drafting phase against BREN and the Ohio brothers. It does appear that BREN does have first pick. And I'm wondering as to what kind of styles we are going to be expecting, because obviously one of the underlying things that I do find similar between both of these teams is the jungler styles.
Yeah.
Right? Best player 1, and we also have Kyle TZ on the other side. A lot of people have said that perhaps this upcoming patch is leaning towards more assassin for the jungle. Do you agree with this?
Yeah, both of these players really like to go for these assassins. Very aggressive picks in the jungle. I will have to say, though, that Kyle TZ has been a bit more multidimensional in that jungle, playing the utility junglers really, really well. Definitely transitioned and matured over the course of a few international tournaments like the SEA Games and obviously IESF. But now, with the Edith and the Bruno ban coming in for the side of BREN, we're definitely seeing the impact here of the patch just recently hitting. There's a lot of different heroes that we usually see in the first phase for BREN that are now completely being left out. Don't know if they're actually trying to experiment, or maybe they know what TOB has been playing the past 2 weeks in the boot camp, just scrimming and training their minds off.
Ooh, that's actually quite interesting.
Time to drop the
Boxia ban coming in from BREN here in the first phase of the drafts, and a Joy. So despite the nerfs, I would consider it a nerf. Despite the nerfs coming on to Joy here, the Ohio brothers still deem Joy as an asset that BREN can pick up in the first phase of the drafts. But that means that this leaves a lot of other heroes open. And one of those, I'm thinking...
What are you thinking?
I don't know, there's a lot. You can even go for... just a lot. Novaria?
Yeah.
Valentina? I think Valentina is still an option despite the nerves coming into her IMU, her ultimate.
Definitely, right? I mean, you get so much flexibility with that Valentina here. And for BREN, that first pick will definitely determine how they'll take this draft. But the Nolan has been completely left open. The Nolan nerf, by the way, in the new patch is kind of deceiving, right? You would expect it to be, okay, a nerf, but I think LaFell likes to say this a lot when heroes get nerfed, but not that much. It's actually a hidden buff. Because with that slight nerf just being the cooldown duration being a bit, it being increased, you're going to see a lot more Nolan play in the game. And with Nolan getting left open so much, you're going to see how broken this hero really is with that damage as long as AP BREN secure some lockdown, some CC.
But a lot of people have actually argued that I was going to talk about Nolan again, but we gotta talk about this, right? Guinevere and Novaria. Am I smelling a Novaria? No, a Guinevere in the jungle.
You're definitely smelling the Guinevere in the jungle. You can see it as well. I think at this point, it's no longer a flex pick. Definitely could be utilized as a flex pick here, but I'm thinking instantly to the jungle. The Guinevere changes in the patch as well. The fact that now you can jump in and get a knockup without having to rely on your passive is super setup. It's usually already a counter to a lot of the utility junglers that you have in the game. Now that you do not have to get that passive in, you can just jump in and get that massive chain CC on. There's so much you can do, especially up against someone as mobile who relies on that mobility as the Nolan.
And in addition to that point, right, this is a Guinevere and a Novaria combo. So the thing is about the Novaria, her ultimate can actually increase the hitbox range that will facilitate the Guinevere to get in those picks. So already a very dangerous combo. I wasn't expecting to see it in the first day, but here we are, the Ohio brothers just giving up all their cards right now in the first match of the day. It's going to be followed in with a Faramis and a Claude.
You got to get that second HP bar when you're up against composition. You need some more dive, some more utility to help your team get to that place and to gap close a lot against the TOB lineup. With the Novaria, with the Guinevere, they have two different styles that they can rely on now. They can start to build on now. Either it's a full front to back with the Novaria with the Novaria in the back and the Guinevere being that main frontliner with maybe possibly another frontliner, or they go full dive with a Phoveus, a big counter that was used by AP BREN actually against Blacklist International, the Phoveus against the Nolan, and we're gonna see it here again. Me and Arashi, and even with Marky, Beloy, and Wolf, we've been talking a lot about how broken the Phoveus is going up against a Nolan. The Nolan really needs to use those dashes to go in and out, and this Phoveus punishes him hard.
But the question is where the Phoveus is going in terms of laning.
Should be XP with the Guinevere locked in and a Novaria. I don't think it's going to be flex into the mid or the jungle.
It could
Should
still be a
XP.
Novaria roam. Or is that not their style?
I don't think so, man. Super Shark, he likes the initiator, tanky roamers. Doesn't really like the utility or, Novaria.
The utility or the Novaria. Yeah, I understand, which is why we've seen a lot of variations of certain heroes, especially throughout the different regions, which is why it was a question for me, right? Is this the style of the Ohio brothers? Is this something that North America has actually picked up in their meta? But here from AP BREN, we do see a Fanny and a Fredrin being taken out. I want to talk about this a little. Is a jungle tank still viable in this meta? Because of the buff towards Lord, it seems a little bit more tricky than it was before.
Definitely is a bit more tricky, but I would say the most efficient junglers are still going to be the utility / fighter junglers, right? You have so much HP to play with. You have that early game as well, good clear, and honestly, what makes them so strong is in the early game so much lockdown with the CC, especially someone like the Fredrin. We have seen teams already start to transition to the damage-dealing assassins back again in the jungle, and that's what we're seeing from AP BREN with the Nolan pick already, very early on. TOB, first pick in the second phase, and they decide to take the Beatrix away from Super Marco.
Alright. So what are we looking for here? Is this going to be a Faramis in the mid lane? Or is it going to be a Faramis for Ogwin? I mean, understanding Ogwin, I think he likes more initiator type heroes. I think this will be flexed into the mid. So what are we looking for here in the roam position? That's going to be Kufra. That's going to be a lot of cover and a lot of initiation potential for Ogwin himself.
Most definitely a playmaker, Ogwin. One of the biggest factors as to how they were able to completely destroy Blacklist International in the final game of the Grand Finals. It was Ogwin and Flapteezy, two playmaking heroes, and this time they're actually going to put Flapteezy on a hero that's not as playmaking, right? More of a distraction, more of just a solid front line in the front. So trying to distract to open up for the Kufra initiations.
Do you think that in this situation right now, we already see the overall situation coming in from AP BREN, the overall idea that they're going
I
for.
am the power
Will
of light
Phoveus
incarnate.
be able to stop Nolan, especially now that the Ohio brothers also pick up an additional hero in the Kaja to help control the jungle?
It's a bit tough to say right now, man, for both AP BREN and TOB. I feel like the Nolan here, it's already really, really tough to go up against the Phoveus, right? That's something that they really need to deal with from the get-go. It's either they go straight on to the XP lane, try to shut down the Phoveus at the start, or the Phoveus just scales and becomes a big, big hurdle for AP BREN to jump over.
It looks like AP BREN has a different hurdle as well. Looking at your talent prediction, Mirko, the Ohio brothers. Is it going to be a mere curse or a mere bless today?
I don't know, man. You're just gonna have to see. You know, I don't really claim any mere curses or mere blesses. We'll just see. I'm just gonna say, Ducky told me yesterday at the lobby, don't predict us. So.
All right, how convenient. But ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome you to the opening match of MPLI 2023. From the Philippines, we have AP BREN, and all the way from North America, we have the Ohio brothers. So let's get straight into the land of dawn.
Here it is at the start of the game. We're expecting a bit more of a closer game, but honestly, I want to take a look at this matchup, right? The Kaja pick into the Kufra, not something that you would usually see, knowing that the Kufra actually has a better time usually against the Kaja, but it just shows you when a team goes for the Kaja after a Kufra comes in, that the Kaja is a really, really experienced player and is very confident in the skill that he can actually display in the Land of Dawn, maybe going in for the initiations before the Kufra or maybe even the Uranus can set up and open. Definitely, we're already seeing some aggression here from TOB early on, getting that lethal water. A small win, but it's a win that is quite expected for a Guinevere in the jungle. Super fast clear of the crazy changes in the patch to that knockup.
Now, we were talking about Phoveus being a really good issue or a good point for the Ohio brothers to utilize against AP BREN. In the laning phase, Uranus and Phoveus, what is that going to look like?
The damage by player 1 just getting to lead in the first minute of the game. You need lockdown. Once you get that, Nolan is free.
And that's Nolan for you. Early game pressure, really good ganking potential, and that damage, even despite the nerfing, I feel his early game is still something to be afraid of. And for the moment, we aren't actually seeing the Phoveus being an issue just yet, especially in the first 5 minutes.
Not at all, man. We need to see level 4. That's the power spike for this, for both actually the Guinevere and the Phoveus, but mainly the Phoveus, right? For Guinevere as well, some sorts of more survivability. There's a bouncing ball in the mid lane just to stop Super Shark, and that's more mid bio for AP BREN, setting up for the turtle, but best player 1 is already holding it down, setting it, and now AP BREN get their hand on it.
Let's see what's on here right now. AP BREN the economy lead. In terms of level, Kyle TZ does have a little bit of an advantage over the Guinevere, over best player 1. So it doesn't look like the Ohio brothers actually want to commit onto the turtle just yet. But neither do AP BREN. They're looking for some pressure in the mid side before they start setting up.
We haven't seen a lot of competitive tournaments right after the patch. It's probably the first one, the first actual real international tournament after the patch. And this is why we're already seeing it delayed. Ogwen, Tyrus Revenge, the Tyrus Ray connect the Super, who's now to flicker out. TZ burns the fracture. And AP BREN get a big W here against the Roamer. That player 1 rotating down as well. Miel has, and that's going to be the Violent Realm. Now 1, but the NetherRealm saves Ogwen for a bit. There's some dive as well from Baptiste. Mielo's taken super low, unable to use the demon under the turret. Now locked down Judgment. Baptiste looking for that kill. Actually does get it with the help of Ogwen. It's 1 for 1, but AP BREN secured a neutral.
Looks like they're looking for more here. I don't think they should at the moment. But it's going to be super marked out. 1v1. What happened?
That is something that we don't see a lot. Super Mario solo killed, top by Zia.
How? I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to wrap my head around what exactly happened, because in theory, I would say that Super Marco would have a little bit of an edge, especially now that he's level 6. He has the Blazing Duet to jump in and jump out of situation. But I wish I could particularly